because I don't know if it's bad to like talk about. All right, let me. Don't play games. All right, what's up, you guys? It is currently 1:27 a.m. I got home like at 11:30, 12, right? And I just got like chills. Like you know that feeling that you get when like someone's watching you. But yeah, it started making me think about ghosts and stuff, and it made me think about my experience with La Llorona. And for those of you who don't know the legend of La Llorona, I'm protected. Okay, stop. Okay, but for like looking, like just reading about stuff like this, it just makes me feel like I shouldn't be looking at stuff. Like if I'm inviting bad spirits or whatever. Alright, so it says, a woman named Maria married a rich man with whom she eventually had 2 children. Then their marriage hit a rough patch. Her husband spent less and less time at home, and whenever he was home, he paid attention only to the children. Eventually, she sees him with another woman. Enraged beyond reason, some versions claim Maria drowned her 2 children, but she immediately regretted it, crying out, "Ay, mis hijos," translation meaning, "Oh, my children." Maria is sometimes said to have drowned herself afterward, but when she arrived at heaven's gates, she was denied entry, banished back to purgatory on earth until she could find her lost children. She's now known as La Llorona, which translates to the weeping woman. Legend says she floats over and near bodies of water in her white funeral gown, forever weeping as she searches for her lost children. Some versions of the story say she kidnaps or attacks children. Regardless, when you hear her cries, run away. Right? Like, so basically this woman drowns her 2 children and she regrets it. And what people claim to hear is, "Ay, mis hijos," right? Oigan. Yo estoy aquí en mi trabajo, como pueden ver. Like I would always hear, like, I don't even know if my mom, but like everybody and their mama was like, "Oh, like you better be quiet because La Llorona's gonna get you." And like that, you'd be like, right. So like, you know, as a kid, you're like, "Oh shit," like La Llorona. You know, everybody has that like, "Oh, cucuy," or whatever. And like as a teenager, I was always like, and I still kind of am. I'm like, that bitch ain't real. Like, okay. So people be like, "Oh, La Llorona," and I'd be like, she's just a myth, you know. I don't really believe in ghosts and stuff. And I remember this one time, like we had a family party, and you know, after everyone leaves, like it's the main deals that like stay hella late, and like you're drinking coffee. Well, not you, but like your parents and those deals are drinking coffee, like telling stories and stuff. And I remember I was like maybe 10 or 11, and you know how the cousins be like all in one room, right? Well, I had gone out to go get something to drink, and I remember hearing what they were talking about, and they were talking about La Llorona, right? And their experiences with her. My uncle would be like, "Oh, like yeah, I remember when we were kids, like do you remember we heard her, and like we just never went back to that place." I don't know, they were talking about it, right? And me, nosy as, like my mom was there too, and I was like, "Oh, what are you guys talking about?" And I could tell my mom was somebody that doesn't like anything scary. Like she doesn't watch scary movies. She doesn't like me listening to Billie Eilish, because she's like, that scares me. Like, you know how Billie uses like the knife, you know what I'm talking about, the knife sound. She's like, I just don't like, so she doesn't like anything like that, right? So I was like, what are you guys talking about? My mom would be like, nothing, like, don't worry about it, like, just go back to your room. And I was like, oh, you guys talking about the llorona? And she was like, yeah, but like, she's not even real. And I remember my uncle, looking at my uncle, and he was like looking at her like, tell him the truth, right? And she's like, go back to your room, like, we're just telling like dumb stories, right? And I was like, okay. And I never really paid attention to that ever again. Because in my head, like, I was like, she ain't real. Like, she's not real. My uncle's just trying to scare me, right? So yeah, that happened. That's just a little backstory, right? All right, now let's get to the real story. So it is my first time going to Mexico, and I went with my brother, my older brother. And I remember, I think it was like the third night we were there. It was me, my older brother, and my uncle, right? We usually stayed with my mom's parents, right? And that night we went out. It was me and my brother and my uncle. We went out pretty late, and my uncle lives like on the corner of the town. The town isn't really that big, but it was late and we were closer to his house. And my uncle was like, oh, me and your brother are gonna go out. We're gonna I forget what they were gonna do, but they were like, do you want to come with us, or like, do you want to stay? And I was like, honestly, I don't really want to go. But like, they were so worried about like, oh, you can't walk back to like your grandparents' house, so just stay here. So I stayed with my uncle and aunt, right? And they had an extra room, and they were like, oh, we don't really use that room, we just use it as storage room, but there's a bed in there, so you're welcome to stay there while like your brother and your uncle are out, right? And it was like my first time, like, because the first couple of days, like, me and my brother were always together. Like, it was always like, oh, like, where should we go? Where should we sleep today? Should we sleep at my grandparents' house or my aunt's house? It was always like we were together, right? So this was the first night that we weren't together. Like, we didn't sleep in the same, under the same roof, because I think he was gonna go back to my grandparents' house after he was hanging out with my uncle, right? And I was just gonna stay at my uncle's house because it was late. All right, so it's like 12, right? And like, I've already drank my little lechita with my pan, right? And I go to the room and everyone goes to sleep. You know how some people like to sleep with music on? That's me. I want to say I was 17, so 2017. I don't know what phone was out, but I didn't have like service, or I didn't have a phone. It was just like an iPod, so it was just music. And I had the wired headphones, right? So I put my headphones in, put like my sleep playlist on, and I'm trying to go to sleep. So I want to say it was like 30 minutes into like listening to music. My music wasn't playing right. It started playing an instrumental version of the song. Like, the chorus is playing, and then out of nowhere it's just the instruments playing. And I was like what the heck, what's happening to my phone? So like, I look at my phone and I'm like, what the hell? And then the music stops playing. Like, through my earphones it stops playing, but I can still see that like the minute is still going, if that makes sense. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, what's happening? So like, I'm pressing pause and pressing play, and I'm like, what the heck? I disconnect my earphones and I put it back in, and I'm like, bro, what the heck? Like, this is so inconvenient, because I'm trying to go to sleep and I'm trying to listen to music, and then my phone turns off. But like, it wasn't like out of battery, because like, I was in my head, I'm like, oh, it's probably because my battery's low, like that's why the music isn't playing good. But I looked at my battery percentage and I was like, it wasn't full, but like, it had a good amount of charge. And I'm like I honestly, I wasn't thinking anything about like, oh, it's a ghost. Like, I was just like, what the heck? Like, this cheap ass phone, like this cheap ass iPod. I was like, what the hell? And like, I'm trying to turn it on and everything, but like, it just doesn't. So now my phone won't turn on, right? I'm like, what the hell's going on? That's when I hear, so at the house I stayed in, my uncle's house, they had a dog. The dog starts barking. And I'm like, oh great, like, now I'm really not gonna go to sleep, because this bitch is dark. This bitch is barking. He's like barking, and I'm like, bro, come on. I'm trying to get my phone to work. I'm like, I'm just trying to listen to music. I have sleep face down like this, right? And I remember putting 2 pillows over me, like cover my ears and like just have everything like pitch black so I can go to sleep. And it feels like I slept for 5 minutes. That means like I went to a little nap for 5 minutes. I wake up to like the dog, like, cause so prior to this, like the dog was barking like a regular like ruff, like it was nothing serious. But I wake up like after I sleep what feels like for 5 minutes, I wake up to like this dog like going ham. Like he's barking like it's his last bark. Like he's going at it, like he's going super loud, like, and in my head I'm like, is nobody in this house like hearing this? Like, is nobody gonna wake up and like shut that bitch up? I was like, what the hell's going on? I wake up like this. So like I'm laying flat on the bed and I wake up like just open my eyes and I'm like, I don't even know in my head, I'm literally like open my eyes and that's when in my head I'm like no one's gonna shut this dog up. And that's when I realized that I can't move. And it felt so weird. Like I couldn't move. And I was just literally laying like this, my eyes were open and I was going like this. I was going like, so now I'm just scared because I can't move. I feel like I'm paralyzed. And I realize that I'm going through sleep paralysis. And I'm literally going like this. And like this dog is barking. And I remember, supposedly like dogs can sense like the spirit world, you know? So in my head I'm like, why is this dog bark? Because I've never heard a dog bark like this. Like this dog was, I'm telling you, this dog was barking. So I'm like paralyzed and I'm just moving my hands like this. I'm like, what the heck? Like now I'm getting freaked out because I can't move. And this is the first time I've ever like gone through this. So I was like I was just spooked. And then that's when I hear the first, like it wasn't a clear like, ay mis hijos. Like it wasn't none of that. It was just like a little like a faint, I don't know how you want to call it, but I hear like this faint, and it's clear though, like it's like you can tell it's there. Like it wasn't like a cat. It's like maybe it's a cat, or maybe it's like, no, it was a human like saying like it was that. And I was like, I know this bitch ain't, I know this isn't who I think it is. And I was just like, I remember like I can feel my heart like pounding. This dog is barking and I'm like, fuck, like I'm just scared. And like I'm just trying to move, like I'm trying my best to like get up and like run or yell, and I felt so like helpless. Like I promise you, I was trying to yell like help, like to get my tia. I was like I was like gasping for air. Like I'm over here like doing the most. Like I'm like I can't even talk. And I'm just like I'm spooking myself out even more because this dog keeps barking. I can't move. I can feel myself sweating like crazy. And then I hear like a second like, and that's when I lost it. I was crying like I wasn't even like no, like because I couldn't even move. Like I just had tears like rolling down my eyes. Like I'm sweating and I still can't move, and I'm just like I'm over here thinking like I'm gonna die, and like I'm not even gonna see my family. Like a lot was going through my head. I'm like, what's gonna happen? Like I can't do this. I can't do this. And then like I just started thinking about like my phone not working, like how the music just like all the weird stuff, and I was like, fuck, that was probably her like getting closer and stuff. Another thing, I remember when my uncles and my mom were talking, they were telling me how like if you hear it loud and close, I mean she's far away. If you hear her like far and faint, she's close and you're in danger. And I was hearing her like it was a faint, far away sound, so that made me feel like she's in this house, like she's gonna get me. Like I only heard 2. That was the last one. And then out of nowhere, like the dog just, this man goes from like rah, 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 to mute. I'm telling you, mute. Like, it was the quickest mute ever. And then like a good 10-15 seconds later, which felt like forever, like I literally go like this. So I'm still like in my sleep paralysis. I'm still going like crying, sobbing, sweating, and then I go like and I could get up, and I started to cry. I'm telling you, like ugly cry. I'm like if my parents passed away, my dog, everybody in this whole world passed away at the same time. Like I'm over here like freaked out. Like I don't even want to open my eyes. Like I'm just like, I start crying, like sobbing. Like the every time I move, like I could tell like I'm just wet everywhere. Like I didn't pee, but I'm sweating everywhere. And like I literally just run. I get up and go to my aunt's room, and like I don't even say anything. I just jump in the bed and I'm like, Tia, 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 tia. Like just telling her like, Tia, just like please wake up. And like she got up and she was like, well, like what's wrong? What's wrong? And I just start crying. Like I just like I'm hugging her. Like I just want to feel safe. Like I don't know what just happened. And I'm just hugging her, and I'm like and I'm just like crying. Like I can't even talk. And she's like, Mijo, like you're sweating. Like what's wrong? And then she realizes that like I can't talk because like I'm like like I'm 6-year-old crying. Like I'm going at it. And she's like, just calm down, like just calm down, like we're here. And I'm like what, 17? My 17-year-old ass like in my uncle and in bed with my uncle and aunt, like crying, like what kind of baby head. But like they were just like worried, like what's wrong and stuff. And like I finally calmed down, and I'm like I think I heard like llorona and stuff. My aunt was the one that was like you're crazy, like what are you talking about? And my uncle was the one that like just looking at her like you know he's serious, like why are you playing around? And I just look at him and I'm like, fuck, like don't do that, like fuck. And I was just like, I'm like, yeah, like I think like I couldn't move. Like did you not hear, like I forgot his name, feudal lice. I was like, did you not hear like feudal lice like barking? And they're like, no, like he's been quiet all night. When they said that, hell no. That's when I just started crying even more. And I was like, he was barking like so crazy, like I couldn't move. Like I heard her and I was sweating and stuff. And they were just like, just try to go to sleep, like you can sleep with us. And at first I was like, no, it's fine, because I'm like, I'm not gonna sleep with y'all. I'd rather die. Tell her to come back and take me before I sleep with y'all. But like, no, it's fine. And I literally got up and looked at the room, and I was like, I'm not going back in there. Because the fact that they were saying like, oh, we never use that room, like it was just for storage, like my youngest daughter doesn't want to sleep there. I was like, that's probably why she don't want to sleep there, bitch. And I was like, fuck. And I looked at the room and I was like, I'm not sleeping there. I'm like, scoot over, Tia. And I slept with them, and I was just like, I remember in the morning, like I just felt like in shock and stuff. We were eating cereal, and my brother had finally came that morning after he slept somewhere else. And my tia was like, did you tell, like jokingly, she was like, did you tell your brother what happened last night? And like they just started laughing, and in my head, like I mean, like I laughed. I was like, whatever. But in my head I was like what the fuck? Like, I still couldn't believe it. I'm like, are y'all like for real joking, or like y'all trying to help me feel better by laughing or whatever? And I had told my brother, and he just started laughing, I guess to like, you know, not make it so serious and stuff. But I never slept back in their house or in that room again. Like I'm a person that like, I don't believe in ghosts. I'm more like, oh, like I have to see it to believe it. Bitch, I believe. But yeah, like I don't know. Like ever since I experienced, like even just talking about it, I'm like, fuck, like that shit was scary. And I remember like that first year that I went to Mexico, I would write down, like, I guess you can say like a journal or a diary, whatever. And I remember writing it down when I came back to my grandparents' house, because that's where I would usually stay. So all my stuff were there. And I grabbed my notebook and I wrote everything down, like my experience and stuff. I might have left some details out, but that book is at my mom's house, so whenever I get it, like I'll post it on my Instagram story or something. But yeah, I remember writing it down and I was just like, fuck, like I never want to experience that. Or I don't want anybody to experience that. Like I don't know, like in my head, like on the way back from Mexico, I was like, let's look at the logistics. Maybe the dog like saw another dog and they were over there barking, and maybe like since my iPod was old, like I was going through every single thing. I was like, maybe the Wi-Fi was out, or like sleep paralysis is normal. Like it has nothing to do with supernatural things. Like people get sleep paralysis. I'm like, so maybe I was just getting sleep paralysis or whatever. And then like, I don't know, maybe what I heard was like my aunt moaning or something or whatever. But yeah, it was scary. Like I don't, even talking about it just, oof, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna sleep tonight. I'm gonna go downstairs with my brother. I'm gonna be like, hey, let's have a sleepover. But yeah, that was my experience. If you have any stories about La Llorona or anything, feel free to comment. I would love to hear y'all's stories or even y'all's opinions on like, oh, if you believe in her or something like that. But yeah, that's my story, and there's a little scary story. See, I can't even talk. She's affecting my brain. No, but yeah, that's a little scary story time for you guys. Hope you enjoyed. I'm sweating balls right now. Like, I am sweating a lot, to be honest. Look at my teeth. Let's go. Okay, but no, before like. I'm watching the movie of Christ. I promise you, I locked my door. Nobody getting in this bitch. Okay. Like I sleep like face down. Ass up. Okay.